there was a very broad, uniform support for the twin goals of the World Bank Group formulated during the previous meeting. And this support, many people observed, was not only reflected in speeches, in words, but also in deeds, what was shown clearly during the recent replenishment of the IDA, which proved to be extremely successful. But let me also say something about the discussion during the informal lunch of the Development Committee, during which we discussed the internal reform of the World Bank Group. One had an impression of resounding support for Jim. Virtually, I mean, not virtually, literally everyone, from the advanced countries, from low-income countries, from emerging countries, all the participants, all the attendees expressed admiration for the successful change that is going on within the bank.
A year ago, the governors gave us the great gift of the twin goals, a deadline for the end of extreme poverty and a focus on boosting shared prosperity. 6 months ago, the governors approved our strategy, and today I was very humbled to receive such a strong endorsement for the change agenda that we've put forward. We have made a lot of progress, and what I communicated to the governors was that we will continue to focus all of our efforts on improving our ability to serve clients. The focus on countries and the focus on clients taking the lead in their own development strategies was emphasized again and again. And we are very excited about the response to the approach we're taking to develop country partnership frameworks that for the first time will include the entire World Bank Group, the IBRD and IDA, of course, for the public sector, IFC in the private sector, and also MIGA for the political risk insurance and credit enhancement. Just as we knew that we had to work across the public and private sector in order to meet the demands, the increasing demands for public and private solutions throughout the world, we also knew that we had to improve our ability to deliver the best knowledge, the best solutions in the most effective way. There was also very strong support for the direction we were going with the global practices. We had a record IDA replenishment. We are going through an expenditure review where the $400 million that we pledged to be able to reduce, we reported that we're more than halfway there. We also received very strong support for the new financial arrangements that will allow us to increase our overall lending from 45 to 50 billion to more than 70 billion over the next few years. I just also want to end with an acknowledgement of the IPCC report that was just released. There were, of course, very alarming data. The greenhouse gases are rising, emissions have not been reduced, and IPCC once more let us all know that we are not on a course to keeping global warming below 2 degrees Celsius. We have an enormous agenda that we must tackle, and we did part of that here during these meetings where Madame Lagarde, the UN Secretary General, and I met with 40 ministers of finance to talk about strategies going forward. We talked about the need for a carbon price and the need to reduce fossil fuel subsidies, the importance of energy efficiency and strengthening performance standards, and also finding ways of providing long-term finance for renewable energy. Well, we got a great boost for the Global Infrastructure Facility at these sets of meetings. We're especially grateful to Australia. Australia has made infrastructure a central part of the G20 agenda this year. And so in meetings with Minister Hockey and in statements that he's made, it's very clear that the G20 and the Development Committee as well are anxious for us to take this forward. So we are going to move forward, and our plan is to at least do one pilot project before the end of this year. So the idea is that this will be a platform, and while we will be hosting the platform, the participation will come from all the multilateral development banks and also individual countries, the private sector. And what we're trying to do is take projects that are in developing countries, for example, requirements for infrastructure, but because of the lack of an organized approach to project preparation and other efforts to de-risk these projects, they're not currently bankable. But we feel that if we work together with all these partners, we can turn opportunities into bankable projects. And once we do that, we will recruit investors from both the public and the private sector and work to illustrate that this is a viable and potentially an extremely important way of trying to meet the enormous demand for infrastructure today, especially in the developing world.